Tigers' first impressions. Open phone lines. You got your first taste. We'll see him in person a week from today. What stood out? 248-539-9797.
The bats seem to be a little bit more active than I anticipated they would be against Blake Snell. To start with, honestly. And just to be able to get on base, be a threat in the first couple of innings. And I know there wasn't much action in that first inning, but then Spencer Torkelson starts off, he walks, and then he gets pushed over. And okay, base running error. It was maddening. I can't remember if that was the first at bat or the second time he was on base, but frustrated by that. But I was happy with some of the bats, just to be able to put bat on ball. You see the home run by Spencer Torkelson, 4 runs against that pitching staff. There are some positives to take away from it. Obviously, they lost the game. But Spencer Torkelson, Gleyber Torres, Manuel Margot, excited to see those guys put bat on ball. And maybe it's just the first game. Like I was excited to see a couple of hits.
Well,
that mattered.
We're all sitting around excited, and you have the Gibby Freeman moment before the game, and I thought that was a cool moment.
That was awesome.
And you're just excited.
How good did Gibby look, though?
Yeah, he looked great.
Right, he jogged out there, threw out the first pitch, jogged back. He looked. Hats off to him. He looked great.
But the anticipation, we're like, let's get to the game. I'm excited. Baseball's back. And John, they lost to the Dodgers. What am I going to do? Make a big deal about losing to the best team in baseball? To me, it's looking a little deeper than just wins and losses. They're going to lose a lot of games. They're going to win a lot of games, play a lot of games. Torkelson's the biggest takeaway I had. If this offense is going to be as anemic as we believe them to be, they're going to rely on Torkelson more now than ever before. And he looked composed. He wasn't in a hurry. He looked disciplined. And yeah, if you give him something to hit, the power's still in that bat, and he launched it to left field. I think there is clearly 30 home run power in that bat, and they're going to need
every one of them.
Every single one and some if this team's going to be in the thick of this race, because the other part of the story was they're running back the offense from last year that couldn't score with runners in scoring position.
So here's what I liked about Tork. If we're just going to talk about him for just a moment.
Yeah.
Is he's obviously super aware of what's at stake, the risk. And is it just, hey, because of the injuries, he's up. Because of what he did in spring training allowed them to make that decision for him to be up because of the injuries. Did the injuries simply save his career? And we don't know. There's one game, and it's one home run. It's 5 at-bats.
Oh, we get to wonder. We get to wonder. But
having said all that, we've seen him press before and chase pitches or just, try and make something happen that wasn't there. What I really liked was the 4 walks.
Yeah.
Because he wasn't trying to swing at everything because I've got to make contact. I've got to hit a home run this time. I've got to hit a home run every time I'm up at the plate. I've got to do this. I've got to do that. I liked his discipline of not swinging and not trying to force something that wasn't there.
I wonder, too, if the fact that the injuries happened and he's not pressing for a roster spot mentally helps him out a little bit here, knowing, hey, I got a spot. I'm going to get a chance. If I do damage, I can resurrect my career. He's making the most of the opportunity. To your point about the 4 walks, how about this stat? Torkelson is the first player since at least 1901.
Oh, okay, going back a few years.
Since 1901 to draw at least 4 walks and hit a home run in his team's first game of the season.
Last one to do that was what, Ty Cobb?
The last Tigers batter to do it in any game, 4 walks and a home run, was J.D. Martinez in 2017. It's a great sign. The backdrop was 0 of 15 with runners in scoring position. He's going to have to lift an offense that's going to struggle a lot this season. Last year, when they lost games 4 and 5 in the ALDS, they went 2 of 23 runners in scoring position, and we shouted to the heavens, please add a bat. And maybe trying to find the silver lining, the bat was here the whole time, and it's Spencer Torkelson. Now I still would like to put Torkelson with another bat and another bat and another bat, but he can really lift this team up if this is real. And it's only one game, but that was the discipline at the plate that should translate over the course of the season.
Yes. And when you look at all the numbers, again, it's 5 at-bats. But it was opening up on the road. And I don't necessarily think, hey, it's, there's no pressure. I think the pressure is there because if he doesn't perform, as soon as anyone else is healthy, they're up, he's down.
Well, let me ask you a question.
Oh, okay.
Why would it be Tork, and are we anointing Keith too soon? Mr. 0 for 5 on opening day. Is there a world where Keith, who doesn't have a home defensively, if he doesn't hit, why is Tork the only one under pressure here?
Well, they're all under a measure of pressure. The only one that might not be is Javi Baez because he's going to get paid no matter what. And honestly, I think Cole Keith is kind of in that category as well because of the deal he signed before he was even a major leaguer. But
it pales in comparison to Javi's deal.
100%. And he's performing for that next contract. They're all performing for the next contract or roster spot. So I'm not going to go that far with Cole Keith. But as far as I'm not going to go with Spencer Torkelson in one direction, I'm not going to go the other way with Cole Keith. Javi Baez, okay, yeah, that's about exactly what we expected.
And to be fair with Keith, Jim, half the team doesn't have a spot to play.
That's true. Well, good roster construction. One guy that I want to see more of.
Ryan Kreidler. Gold glove, silver slugger after one game.
You were on fire last night. Guy gets a single and makes an admittedly really nice play in the outfield.
Uh-huh.
And John's fitting him for the MVP trophy. Move over Bobby Witt.
Yes.
No, I want to see Carpenter against righties and lefties. He had the sac fly against a really good lefty out of the bullpen in was it Tanner Scott?
Yeah.
Kerry Carpenter, I understand if this team was fully healthy and you had proper platoon options and you were just going to play matchups. Kerry Carpenter mashes. They showed the graphic pitches in the zone. He was better than Shohei and Aaron Judge last year. Some of that is the cookie cutter matchups, but given the injuries, he should play every single day, right? Both in the corner and at the plate, they need him right now.
I got to imagine in the offseason that would have been a focus of Kerry Carpenter. Like if I want to be a real big-time major league hitter, then I need to be able to play against righties and lefties.
Yes.
Now, okay, he bats lefty. You're going to face more right-handed pitchers. We've talked about this before. He's going to get plenty of at-bats. But if you want to be a guy that absolutely mashes, then you have to do it against both right and left-handers. I got to imagine he worked on that a ton, and I don't necessarily know how many left-hand batting BP pitchers do you? Yeah.
But so he's a guy that brings them immense power. He was my pick to lead the team in home runs this year. You too, right?
Yeah.
And it's the idea that they need that bat in the lineup. Most teams aren't sitting their best batter for matchups, right? Now, he's not Shohei, but they're not going, well, sorry, Shohei, a lefty's on the mound, so you get the day off. He's our version, right? He's our masher in the middle.
Could be.
You don't go, hey, we're going to platoon our number one slugger, especially when you look around the lineup and go, who are these guys?
Well, and so the number 4 hitter, they have that nickname for a reason, right? The cleanup hitter.
Mm-hmm.
If Spencer Torkelson can be a reliable bat with power at that 4 spot, now A.J. Hinch can be much more creative with the lineup because then he says, okay, well, if Margot following him, Spencer Torkelson wipes the bases clean, all right, walk around, touch them all. Margot, we got to get you on. Cole Keith, if he doesn't get on, you got to get on. And then at some point in the bottom of that lineup, there's Kerry Carpenter to clean the bases again. It gives him options. If Kerry Carpenter can be a guy that can bat against both left and right-handed pitchers.
So if Carpenter is an everydayer, he'd be in the corner. Margot is going to be in the corner some. You know who played center field was Riley Green last night. He switched over to center field when they made their lineup tinkering, which is something I said I want to see a little more of. So, hey, that's a nice sign.
You got it, yeah. Hey, one game.
Yeah, there you go.
One opportunity to see him.
Little Riley in center field.
But the thing with Kerry Carpenter is, to me, I know Torque was the DH, and this is where it's going to be, how do you manufacture or where do you put Cole Keith if you put Spencer Torkelson at first base? Kerry Carpenter, is he a guy that you want to be your DH? You don't want to see him in the field because of injury issues. Spencer Torkelson hasn't had that injury issue.
But I think what we saw, you're going to get this team that finds themselves trailing in some baseball games because they don't capitalize and they're down. And late in games, you're going to need your best bats, which means Carpenter's playing the field, Riley's in center field, Torkelson's the DH. If you put Kerry Carpenter at DH, you got to play lesser bats in other areas, and
Right.
this team doesn't have that luxury.